Hello everyone, tonight we are deep in a place where even the frogs forget how to croak when the drums begin. The trees have memorized every rhythm ever played, every silence that followed, and every scream swallowed by vines thick with moss and memory. You are here. You probably won't survive. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really like what I do here. Let me know where you're listening from and what time it is there. Now, turn off the lights, maybe turn on the fan for some soothing noise, and let's get started tonight. You step past the first veil of hanging vines, and the green breath of the jungle exhales against your cheek. There's a trail here sort of, though it seems to shift slightly behind you every few minutes, as if it's being politely erased. Above the canopy hangs like a closing eye, and the wind is so still, you begin to hear your own heartbeat echo off the tree bark. The birds have long since gone silent, and something is drumming. Not loudly, not yet. Just a dull throb beneath the earth like the jungle's own pulse. Somewhere between heartbeat and warning. You pause at a stone carved with teeth. Real ones, not etched. Human, perhaps. Or something trying to remember how humans smiled. The jungle has no shortage of such relics-shaped stones, moss-covered idols, ceremonial holes that resemble wells but echo differently. In the 1930s, a French anthropologist named Lemoyne cataloged over 50 percussive sanctuaries in this region. He died hearing things. They found him barefoot curled beside a termite hill, humming in a language that didn't exist yet. The soil beneath your boots feels hollow, as though your feet are steps in a ritual someone else has already choreographed. You didn't mean to walk to the center, but here you are standing on the wide stone circle, cracked into the ground like a coin split by lightning. This is the drum plaza. Some say the drums were made from the bark of the kawil tree whose sap glows faintly when exposed to air. No one's dared harvest it in living memory, but older villagers, those who whisper in river dialects, warn that its wood carries echoes, not sounds. Echoes. There's a difference. One remembers you. There were once 12 drums here, each aligned to a different spirit. Only one remains intact. The others have been shattered or swallowed by root and vine, and nobody talks about the day they cracked. But if you listen closely, you'll hear them anyway. They're not gone. They're just elsewhere. The jungle is excellent at hiding things it still needs. According to local belief, when the last drum is played, it doesn't summon anything, it asks. And something answers, something lonely, something too patient to be a god. You step closer. The skin of the drum is stretched with care and horror, pale, soft, unweathered. Scholars disagree on the material. Some claim it's an extinct jungle deer. Others suggest a now-lost practice of weaving plant fibers until they echo like hide. A third group, less published, more cautious, suggests the skin regenerates. They do not wish to test it further. One doctoral thesis mysteriously ended after its author went missing for exactly 1 moon cycle, returning with hair gone white and no discernible heartbeat for 7 hours. His new career is in mushroom farming. You raise your hand to touch the drum but pause. It's still warm. The jungle does not offer warmth lightly. And there's a question that's been waiting here longer than you've been alive. You feel it forming in your throat, not words, not even breath, just pressure, rhythm, a shape you didn't mean to form. You pull your hand back. They say the last time the drum was played, a village fell asleep and never woke up. But they dreamed. They dreamed for 7 years, and one child among them learned how to whisper across the roots. He lives somewhere upriver now, speaking only in echo. If you shout, he finishes your sentence with something you never meant to say. Some believe the drums were communication devices, ancient tools used to commune not with the gods, but with forgotten kin beneath the earth. The oldest bones here, some 400 years old, bear tattoos in circular patterns, not symbols, just spirals and pulses. Matching, some say, the arrangement of the drums. But of course, that's just a theory. Some researchers still argue whether these spirals are natural fossilization effects, not tattoos at all. The rest are too busy trying to find their way back out. You hear it again now, that low, distant thrum. This time not from beneath but above, in the trees. It could be a monkey, a breeze, the bark shifting. But you know better. The canopy is still, the air is still. Even the ants have stopped marching. And the joke is, you haven't even touched the drum yet. Another joke. If you run now, the path will loop. The jungle's sense of humor is circular. Third joke. The drum has already heard your name. Not the one you tell people, the older one. You take one step back, then another. You listen, and somewhere in the darkness, something very old begins to hum your heartbeat back at you. You don't remember leaving the drum circle, but you are standing elsewhere now, somewhere softer. The air is thicker here, as if the jungle has taken a deep breath and is holding it in suspense. Ferns curl like fingers. The ground squishes not from water, but memory. It smells like mushrooms and copper. And every so often you hear what sounds like a toe tapping against the hollow floor. There's no trail anymore, only patterns. Insects form strange arrangements on the bark like glyphs, rewritten nightly. You try not to look directly at them because they seem to twitch when watched. One beetle holds perfectly still on your arm until you blink. Then it's gone and something laughs far away. You tell yourself it's a bird. You tell yourself many things. The trees here are wider. Some are rumored to be over 2,000 years old, older than the Maya, older than the village ruins nearby with their stone-faced masks and jawless temples. Older, maybe, than the very concept of drums. One of them, the Kaba, was once thought to be the center of the world. A conduit between realms. The locals called it Yaakshe, and they still leave offerings at its roots, feathers, teeth, sometimes just silence. Tonight, someone has left a footprint. Small, bare, fresh. You crouch beside it. The toes are splayed as if the walker was listening with their feet. It's the kind of step that feels deliberate but unafraid, like a child leading a ghost. There's a hut up ahead. Not a ruin. Something still alive. Its roof is stitched with palm leaves and a thin wisp of blue smoke curls from a hole in the thatch. A mask hangs on the door. Not decorative. Warning. You knock once. It opens before your knuckles land again. The woman inside looks at you without blinking. Her skin is lined like bark, her hair a tangled web that seems to hold moths like secrets. She doesn't speak not yet, but gestures for you to sit. You do. The floor creaks in rhythm. She begins to hum. It's not a song. It's the sound you heard beneath the drum plaza, softened, stretched. She taps 3 fingers against a wooden bowl. Each beat lands somewhere deep in your ribs. Your heart sinks. Then, in perfect English, she says they're listening again. You ask who? She smiles, but only halfway. Whoever never left. A pause. Do you want to ask your question now? You hesitate. You didn't think you had one. But she leans in as if it's already forming in your breath. The hut darkens slightly despite no change in the sun. The woman begins to tell a story. Long ago, she says, before names were trusted, people danced answers into the soil. They danced so hard that the floor remembered. And sometimes it plays back what it was taught. She stirs a dark liquid in the bowl. It smells like earth and fire and something that hasn't been invented yet. They stopped when the answers got too close. You ask if the drums are safe. She laughs a dry, papery laugh. Drums were never for safety. They were for proximity. Every beat brings you nearer to what we've all decided not to decide. She pours the liquid into a second bowl, sets it in front of you. You don't drink, not yet, but your hand is already curling around it the way your fingers did around the air near the drum. Outside, something taps the window. No branch is near it. You ask if anyone else comes here. She nods. One boy, the dreamer. He came back. Said the jungle had changed while he was gone. You ask where he is now. She tilts her head. Wherever you're going, outside the wind picks up. But not the leaves, just the sound of it. Like someone imitating weather with their mouth. She stands, takes down the mask from the door. Put this on when it gets close, she says, but not before. What is it? A question she replies. Some researchers believe the earliest masks found in this region, dating back over 9,000 years, were not worn by people but placed on sleeping bodies. Not for ritual, for communication. The masks bore no mouths, only exaggerated ears. Scholars argue whether they were meant to hear dreams, or something else. Outside, a second knock sounds from the far wall, but there's no door there. You thank the woman, though you're not sure why. She nods as if she's already heard it. And when you blink again briefly innocently, she's gone. Just the hut, the bowl, the mask, and the hum. Louder now. You leave mask in hand. The jungle receives you like a memory returns to a mind. Softly, with hesitation. There's movement to your left, not an animal, a shape that doesn't resolve. To your right, another footprint. And the joke is, you've already asked the question. Another? The mask fits perfectly. Last one. You're not sure whose face it's modeled after, but they miss it. Behind you, the drums whisper their first full word. You take one step forward, and the jungle listens harder. There is a rhythm beneath your steps now. Not quite echo, not quite drum. A mirrored response. Like walking through your own memory of walking. The mask is warm against your side, swinging from your hand. You haven't yet put it on. Not because you don't believe, but because you do. Ahead, the trail opens to a clearing you don't remember choosing. It's ringed with massive stones, each carved not with faces, but with absences, deep smoothed hollows where features might have been had anyone been brave enough to sculpt what they saw. Lichen grows in the eye sockets, and moss has filled in the mouths. But the silence is recent. You can tell by the way no birds perch nearby. This is the listening ring. You've seen it in sketches, those pale, disputed field notes from a 1910 expedition that never returned. The journal was found floating in the river, perfectly dry. Its final entry was just 5 words. The trees opened their ears. Now standing at its edge, you realize the sketches were incomplete. There's a 13th stone. One shaped like a crouching form. Not human, not animal. A suggestion of something that decided shape only after being asked. The mask twitches slightly in your fingers. Just settling, you tell yourself, or remembering. According to oral tradition, the listening ring was not meant to summon or trap but to translate. Between what and what varies depending on whom you ask. Some say it was for spirits too quiet to speak. Others insist it was for ancestors who never learned to listen. But the most unsettling version, the one rarely whispered, claims the stones amplify whatever thought you try hardest not to think. You step inside, the air changes pitch. That's the only way to describe it, like sound is being filtered, held up to the light and sorted. Your breath comes slower, not out of fear, just compliance. You sit in the center cross-legged. The ground is marked with thin, curving scratches. Not letters, not scratches even, more like traces of vanished insects walking in circles. Some of the circles overlap. You place the mask beside you, not on your face, not yet. There is a presence in the ring with you now. It hasn't arrived, it's just begun to form like a shape appearing in steam on glass. A pressure, a thought that didn't come from you. It wants to be known. You wait. The wind picks up slightly, but again, only the sound of it, not the motion. The vines hang perfectly still, no leaves flutter, just the imitation of breeze. You hear laughter, not mocking, not joyful, just misplaced. Like someone remembering a joke from the wrong life. Then something unexpected. A voice not spoken but inside your head asks, "Why did you stop playing?" The voice is soft, familiar in the way forgotten lullabies are familiar. Like it once sang you to sleep in a body you no longer have. You answer, or rather you think the answer. "I didn't mean to stop." Another silence, but you feel approval. Or disappointment, it's hard to tell. They're close cousins in places like this. One of the stones trembles. A fine line of dust trickles down its side. You think of teeth again. In 2008, a fossilized jawbone was found not far from here. Human-like, but with too many molars and a groove along the roof of the mouth that suggested some kind of resonating chamber, as if its owner spoke in multiple frequencies. It was dismissed as a deformity. Some researchers still argue whether it was even real. The jawbone was stolen from the university archives 2 years later. The security footage blinked off for exactly 13 seconds. Back in the ring, you feel a low sound starting beneath your ribs. Not pain, not vibration, just foundation. Something settling in. You realize slowly that you're humming. Not a tune, just a note. Pure and continuous. The mask inches closer to your leg. You didn't see it move, but it's nearer now. You place it in your lap. It fits there like a cat waiting to be remembered. A whisper at your back says it's your turn. You turn, but no one is there. Of course not. You ask without meaning to. Turn for what? And something inside the 13th stone shifts. The joke is, you already knew the answer. Another joke. This place does not echo because sound has nowhere else to go. Last joke, you still think you have a face? Think. You pick up the mask and hold it in front of you. It's heavier now. You finally ask the question out loud. What are you? The mask answers not in words but in gesture. It leans. Just once, toward your face. The air folds inward like a held breath collapsing. The clearing darkens. You blink. The stones are farther away now. You haven't moved. Something begins drumming in the distance. Then closer. Then beneath you. You put on the mask, and the jungle answers. The inside of the mask is not dark. That's the first lie it tells. It's filled with soft, pale light like the color of memory before it settles into something useful. You blink, but the light remains, and there is a shape in front of you. It looks like a boy. Maybe 10, maybe 20. Time doesn't seem to stick to him. His hair is full of leaves. His eyes are mirrors, not metaphorically actual mirrors. You see your own face reflected in them, but it's a version you haven't worn in years. The face you only show when you dream of falling. He smiles and speaks without opening his mouth. You heard it too. His voice is layered. One part child, one part water, moving over stones, one part drumbeat that never stops. You ask him if he's the dreamer. He shrugs. Aren't we all? You're standing now, though you don't remember rising. The jungle has changed. The trees are farther apart, taller, leaning inward like gossiping elders. The sky above pulses faintly with orange veins like sunset is bleeding upward instead of down. And everything is silent but alive. I brought them back, the boy says. You ask who? He points to the trees. At first they seem empty. Then you notice the shapes. Still forms wrapped around trunks folded into branches. Watching, listening. Not ghosts, at least not how you understand them. They're answers. Waiting for the right questions. One of them moves, slowly. Just a tilt of the head. You realize it's wearing a mask exactly like yours. The boy continues. They wanted someone to finish the rhythm. You started it. You tell him you didn't mean to. He nods. No one ever does. In the real world, if you can call it that, there's an archaeological debate about a pattern of slash marks found on ceremonial tree trunks in this region. They seem too rhythmic to be random, but no tool marks have ever matched. Some suggest they're claw marks from extinct arboreal animals. Others believe the trees were part of some forgotten music system where even leaves held a part in the composition. But that's a distraction, because the boy is walking now and you're following. You pass a tree with dozens of tiny handprints pressed into the bark, some still warm. One handprint pulses gently like a heartbeat. They tried to bury the drums, he says, but they forgot the echo. He pauses beside a hollow in the ground. At first, it looks like a burrow. Then you realize it's too perfect. Circular, shaped like a mouth caught mid-word. They used to sit around this, he says. One played, one listened, one forgot. You ask what happened to the fourth. He smiles again. She still speaks through strangers. You hear a voice behind you, a woman's. It's the same as the one in the hut, but softer, fainter, as if spoken from underwater. "You're close now," it says, "but don't stop moving." You turn to look, but the boy touches your shoulder. Don't. The air shifts. A low boom rolls through the trees. Not thunder, not entirely. More like something shifting beneath the forest. The boy holds out his hand. "You can finish the song," he says, "but only if you're not afraid of what sings with you." You hesitate. The mask hums against your face. The sound isn't pleasant or unpleasant, it's familiar. It reminds you of walking alone as a child, humming to yourself in the dark to scare away silence. You take his hand. Instantly, the forest flickers. You are standing at the edge of a different clearing. A mirror of the drum circle, but older, wilder, overgrown with vines that pull back politely as you step forward. In the center, the last intact drum, and something else. The crouching shape from the 13th stone is here. No longer stone, no longer still. Its body is made of bark and bone. Its eyes are empty, its chest is hollow, and inside its hollow chest, your voice. You hear it repeating your question from earlier. "What are you?" Only now you hear the answer folded into the echo. It is not a name, it is not a word. It is your own heartbeat reflected backward. You are the drum, you are the sound. You are the one who forgot. The joke is, the rhythm wasn't in the jungle, it was in you. Another, you never left the ring. Last joke, the boy was never there. He was just the part of you that remembered to ask. The creature leans forward, not hostile, just listening, and you finally raise your hands and begin to play. Your hands strike the drum, not hard, not ceremonially, almost by accident, like brushing dust from a memory. The sound is soft at first, and then it isn't. It opens like a mouth held shut for too long. It's not just noise, it's a shape the jungle recognizes, a shape that changes everything around it. The creature with the hollow chest exhales, though it makes no sound. Its chest flickers with light just once, like lightning caught in sap. The boy is gone, or maybe he was never beside you to begin with. The trees pull back ever so slightly, not in fear, but as one might give space to an elder finally waking. The mask pulses against your skin. You try to remove it, but it won't lift. Not because it's stuck, but because you've forgotten which part of you it covers. You are no longer sure where your face ends and the listening begins. You drum again, and the sound travels. Not forward, not back. Down, into the roots, into the soil, into the bones that were never cataloged. The forest leans. In 1972, a team of geologists recorded low-frequency vibrations in this region they initially mistook for micro-earthquakes. Later, they realized the pulses followed no tectonic pattern, only lunar cycles and seasonal migrations of birds. One doctoral candidate suggested half-jokingly that the forest was singing. He was later dismissed for unrelated reasons. The joke? He went on to become a sound engineer for a nature documentary series and still refuses to work near trees. The vibration returns now. Through your knees, through your ribs. The drum is not just an instrument, it's an invitation, and something somewhere beneath your feet is stepping closer. You begin to understand. The drums were never meant to summon gods. They were meant to remind you of the pact, of the rhythm, of the cycle that was broken when humans stopped listening and began speaking too much, when they made music to be heard, not answered. You were never meant to come alone, and yet here you are. The crouched creature takes a single step forward. The air shimmers where it walks as though time itself pulls away from its feet. It sits beside you, folds its arms, lowers its head, listens, and you keep playing. The beat changes now. Not faster, but deeper, more intentional. You are not composing. You are remembering. The sound folds through the air like breath caught between languages. The vines hum. The stones blink. Somewhere far away, water trickles upward. Then a crack. Not from the drum, from the trees. One of them splits not violently, not unnaturally. More like it's opening, like it's always meant to. From inside, something steps out. A figure. Masked. Moving like a question without punctuation. and then another, and another. Dozens, all masked, all silent, all listening. They encircle you. You keep playing. You ask without sound what they are. They answer without moving. We are what waits when you forget. You nod. It makes sense here. A soft voice near your ear says you've almost finished. You don't turn. You know the voice. It's the woman from the hut, or the hut itself, or the part of the jungle that took pity on your heartbeat and shaped it into a path. You ask what happens when the rhythm ends. She answers, then we breathe. The trees inhale, the drums vibrate, and something beneath the soil, the oldest part of you remembers how to sway. You play the final note. It echoes like a laugh that never needed a joke. The figures bow not to you, but to the silence that follows. A reverence for what wasn't said. The forest closes its eyes. You feel the mask lift. You are alone again, or perhaps surrounded by everything that ever listened. There is no drum in front of you now, just an imprint in the soil. Your hands are stained with sap that smells like the color blue. You hear no sound, but the rhythm remains, just beneath your skin, waiting,